Well, hello there, everybody. This is Rosanna, founder of Enjoy Yoga, and I am streaming live from Grand Cayman. Yippee! Got the pool here and the sea, as you can see. And I've really wanted to make a couple of videos about yoga. For any of you who are currently located, working, or living in Croydon, Enjoy Yoga serves South Croydon, Central Croydon, Purley. We've got classes in lots of areas, and we actually run 2 beginners courses a week. So we run one on a Monday and a Thursday evening. And I wanted to talk a little bit about yoga fads and yoga bods, because it is absolutely wonderful that yoga has taken off as it has and it's gained in popularity as it has. But there are a lot of fads in yoga. I mean, the traditional hatha approach to yoga is very, very different to what you'll find if you go into a hot yoga class or a Bikram class or an Ashtanga class. And ultimately, the whole point of yoga is to bring union to all systems of the body. So that is the body, mind, heart and soul, so all the energetics and the physical, but also all the various physical systems of the body coming into balance. Now, what can tend to happen is that we are drawn to the type of yoga that basically promotes where we're used to being. So if we're used to working really hard and playing hard, then we're tending to go for a yoga that is going to really test us in that way. And so we'll be drawn more to stronger forms of yoga, which might be rocket yoga, might be power yoga, might be hot yoga, Bikram yoga, Ashtanga, like there's all sorts of strong forms. But essentially, what we need to be very, very careful with our yoga practice is that it is helping us to transmute the patterns in our cellular memory, helping us to access our divine blueprint, helping us to access optimal alignment, rather than locking into us further, deeper, the patterns of behavior and thinking and being in this world that perhaps we are looking to bring light to, which is what yoga does, and to overcome, to transmute and take into a new direction. So usually people who are very sort of highly strung will benefit more from a slower flow yoga, certainly focused with some kind of therapeutic alignment, leading towards restoratives, because it's about slowing and resetting the nervous system down. Someone who tends to be more sluggish and needs motivation and energy is going to do better actually working with a yoga that kind of gets them from a more inert place where it's more static to more gentle flow, leading to a stronger flow. So they're really building core and elasticity and therefore toning the nervous system to be able to get used to being more active and to operate at a higher frequency. So the homeostasis of the body is very important. This is how all the systems of the body work together internally, including heart rate, breathing rhythm, temperature, everything that happens internally. And I'm very keen to encourage people to actually explore yoga from the start, because often through Enjoy Yoga we get people coming to us either for the first time to our pregnancy yoga classes or maybe our baby yoga classes, and they've never been to a general yoga class. Equally, I see people going to gyms and trying yoga from scratch in a mixed level gym class where they're not really getting any attention from the start or developing good habits. So even with these sort of courses that are there, you can kind of start at any time and end at any time, but you're not necessarily getting the instructions from start to finish, which is why we run the beginners courses, to give you a chance to understand from the foundation up what are the key teaching principles, the key alignment principles, the key things you need to learn to be able to apply to any yoga practice, so that you can actually really benefit from a maximum level with the practice. And for example, one of the things that's so important is not to skip out on the relaxation, especially if you're doing stronger yoga, because all of the resetting benefits come from this resting time. But if you find that your mind operates at 100 miles an hour, you may well find that that resting time is very difficult to be with. So guided visualization to relaxation help, and also key instant relaxation techniques help as well. So I come from a multidisciplinary background, not just yoga, but in my yoga teacher training over the years, I started teaching 20 years ago. I started with basic hatha training, moved to Ashtanga, moved to dynamic flow, trained with some of the top teachers like Shiva Ray and Danny Paradise and John Scott. Then I went on to retrain in 2010 in Anusara Yoga, which is a therapeutic alignment style of yoga, which really helped me to actually understand how I'd locked into my body patterns previously that weren't very helpful for me. So I was overextending in my joints, I was overextending in my middle back and my rib cage, and I was basically not causing myself the best alignment that would support me through life. So kind of undoing all those patterns after 10 years of teaching and learning again to be in my body in a different way taught me the value of actually really learning things thoroughly from the start. And it's important to remember that some styles of yoga, some traditions of yoga are much more focused on alignment than others. And the more traditional styles of yoga, so your Hatha, your Ashtanga, your Iyengar, the principles of alignment are old school, okay? So we have learnt so much through sports injury, we have learnt so much through how the body actually works in the last 5,000 years, that although all of the seeding principles are correct, if you are looking to do strong weight-bearing yoga either daily or several times a week or even once a week, you really want to learn how to stack your joints and how to anchor your hands and your feet and everything that has contact with the ground. So in this invitation here in this video is one to really explore different styles of yoga. Through Enjoy we have quite a few different styles of yoga in terms of the different teachers that teach for us. They have different teaching backgrounds, but I encourage all of the teachers and also all of the students that come to us, whether they go somewhere else, to one, start with a beginner's course, and if you really want to learn about therapeutic alignment, then our Monday evening beginner's course really focuses on that from an Anusara perspective. And our Thursday evening course is for a more gentle approach to yoga with all the core foundational safety tips and teaching points that will support you to combine breath and movement. But equally, we run a therapeutic alignment workshop, which I personally teach, and I invite anybody in our community, anybody in Croydon, even if you go to another school of yoga, just to come along and learn a little bit more about this, because it's the finer details that will allow you to move from a practice that sort of stays the same and doesn't really progress unless you're pushing it, to a practice where you learn how to work with your body and how to be able to build krama, so to build postures from the foundation up and to be able to attempt more and more challenging versions of the same posture. So I hope this whets your interest, and in relation to what I'd say about yoga boards, your yoga board will come from practice. From my point of view, I really do just practice yoga. I have been a runner in my time, I have danced in my time, I do like a bit of acro yoga as well. But essentially my exercise practice is yoga. It's daily, it's handstands. It's not a particularly long practice on a day-to-day basis, but when I started, I was practicing very regularly, daily, and building this cellular memory into my body. So the more you practice in the short term, like when you start off, the more that actually builds into your body. And you don't need to force it. Yoga is not about forcing things, and it's not about punishing yourself, and it's not about competing. So just reflect on your practice. When you're doing it, what is it doing for you? Is it supporting you with your digestive and your reproductive health? Or does it seem like it's locking you in and potentially causing more problems than it's solving? If you do go to the gym, you really want a more expansive, elastic form of yoga, restorative form of yoga as your yoga practice, rather than a really strong practice, because you want to build elasticity. And if you're hypermobile, then you're going to really want to be practicing a stronger form that pulls you in rather than stretches you out too far. And again, I talk all about this in my classes because it's about the spanner of the universe. It's about you understanding where you need to expand more and where you need to contract. And the details are just so fascinating. So I hope this is of relevance to you, and just to remember that ultimately it's from the inside out that yoga really reveals the benefits, okay? It's you feeling calmer, happier in yourself, more able to meet the challenges of life through how you meet yourself on your yoga mat. It is not a time to just switch off and do what the teacher says. It's really about you coming into yourself and accessing your own inner divinity, your own inner knowledge, your own intuition. So I hope to see you at one of our classes soon, and do inquire about beginners courses and therapeutic alignment workshop. Whether you go to other classes regularly or not, you will really benefit from